I bring my body, mind, and my speech together in perfect oneness, and I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May my loved ones and all hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. Breathing in, I am completely aware of my breath entering my nose, expanding my chest, raising my stomach. As I breathe out, I feel at the tip of my nose the air leave me. I feel the stomach fall to chest reduce. So I take deep breath in and say in with all the feeling. I flow with it in, and I breathe out slowly and say out in my mind. So in deeply, out slowly. Let's do this for 3 more times. Deeply, slowly out from your nose. Again, deeply in, slowly out. As you breathe in, feel the calmness of your mind residing in your body. As you breathe out, feel the relaxation of your body. So in, calm, out, relaxed. Calm and relaxed. If your mind is floating away, gently invite the mind to come back to breathing in, calm, breathing out, relaxed. Imagine that you're taking a brisk morning walk to a big pond near your home. The morning sun is just rising. The rays are falling onto the dew that are resting on the petals of the lotus flower. You see the tickling, the pureness of the dew resting on the petals of the lotus flower. They look so shiny, colorful, so pure, so fresh. Feel that pureness and freshness in you and feel glorious like the flower, lotus flower itself. Glorious because it has won over the dirt, the mud, and grown into a beautiful self. We have also grown into a beautiful self, winning over our greed, excessive desires, anger, fear, hatred, pride. So breathing, feel pure and fresh like the morning dew. Breathe out and feel glorious like the lotus flower itself. If your mind is floating away, gently remind the mind to come back to breathing in pure and fresh, breathing out glorious. Please begin to make movements on your chair, rub your palms, Put them against your closed eyes, the warmth of your palms. Gently open your eyes halfway. Hold it there for a little while. Continue to breathe in, feeling peaceful, happy, and calm. And when you're ready, you can completely open your eyes, filled with love and compassion. Okay, friends, so let's begin our journey of this morning's workshop. The whole idea is to bring you how rhythms work in our body, and you might appreciate that when we are emotionally challenged, when we are angry, frustrated, unhappy, these are all emotions that are within us, and in every emotion, our breathing changes. The pattern of our breathing changes. The frequencies change, the vibration change, and our body starts to be in such a form that brings us unhappiness, brings us stress, brings us a lot of worries, conflicts in mind. All this is with the breath. The moment we take control of our breath, every time, I can promise you we are in control of our existence. So therefore, let's begin our journey on this. From that, breath is everything. It is one thing that lives with us until our dying day. So why not focus every moment that we are feeling a little emotionally challenged with our breathing in and breathing out. All we need to do is sit calmly and take a rhythmic breathing in and out, and you realize how calmness will naturally reside in us. Okay? Every time you are emotionally challenged, any kind of emotion, just close your eyes, whether you're standing or sitting, and take few deep breaths in and out. And if you're too anxious, take very hard breath in from your nose and throw it from your mouth. You'll calm down immediately. With this, let's take our journey forward. So, all right. So, I know you all know what rhythm is and what mindfulness is. I'm just bringing it to reiterate and to make you feel that, get back your memory, collect it, what it means. So rhythm, we know, is a repeated, very regular kind of patterns, whether it's in sound or music, and they all travel in frequency due to certain vibrations, right? So the other synonyms of this is beat or cadence or tempo or pace or periodicity, things like that. This is how a pattern is created, a very regular pattern. And this we call as rhythms, right? Mindfulness, on the other hand, is to be present in the given time and space, being totally aware of yourself in that time and space, without the thoughts of the past or the future. So you are present with complete awareness in the time and the space that is given to you, or provided by the university. So, who or what are rhythms of mindfulness then? Of course, we talk about in mindfulness, like you would have heard me say, that body, mind, and speech, we bring together in oneness and send my heart. And you see, according to the Vedantas, there are 5 seats in body, inside us, all right? And I only talked about 3, mind, body, and speech. Why speech? Because speech is a part of unconscious, subconscious memory. And a lot of times we speak without any conscious mind in us. It comes out. So therefore, we try to combine these 3 things together so we are in oneness to focus on our breath in different ways, with rhythms, with verses, with visualization and other things. Right? So, when we believe in ecology and live in interdependence, we are in perfect rhythm. Why? Because we have understood ourselves, and we have understood that all that is in existence is a part of us. We are not different from that existence. Right? It brings us to a point where we think I and others are the same. So you are in vibration because you realize who they are is you. So you want whatever you do will be good for yourself and others. So your actions that you take every time, every moment that you're given will be very rhythmic, meaning they will be in proper function. Now, on the other hand, the ego, which I put it as egology, is separation. It says, I'm better than the others. And that divides us. And we are never in rhythms. Because of that pride, I will always try to dominate. And the breathing practice, the rhythms of my body will change. And as Einstein said, that all state of forms vibrate, whether it's gas, liquid, or solid. And this vibration, when they have a certain pattern, frequency, then it's in the rhythms. So our body completely moves in the rhythms. And this has been proven already. So I'll come to that a little later, a little more in detail, but let me just try to bring the equation between rhythm and mindfulness. Mindfulness is a source of happiness because what you think, what you say, or you act, if they are in synchronicity, as Mahatma Gandhi said, we are in happiness. Meaning our actions will proceed, will follow our mind, our thoughts, and we speak. Happiness is not something that's ready-made. It comes with your actions, said Buddha, also Dalai Lama. So every action we take, if it is in line, in coordination with the ecology, with the environment, then we are in the rhythm. So when you're mindful, definitely you are in happiness. Naturally you are in happiness because mindfulness is the source of happiness. When you're mindful, you are doing always good things, always right action, always you divide, very conscience, you live with conscience, saying what is right and what is wrong. So mindfulness is happiness. On the other hand, we all know that anything that's in rhythm is happiness. Rhythmic music, you like. Also some people may like one kind of music and others may like another kind of music. Why? Because our rhythmic beliefs, our balances within the body may be different, but either of these will bring us to happiness. So I would equate rhythm is equal to happiness. All right. So the benefits of rhythmic mindfulness, as you would have realized as we began with, brings us good health. This is research that talks about, it enhances our focus, our concentration of our mind. Because we live in the present moment, what is happening is a lot of the space in our mind that's occupied by the past or the future is going to be, available for our conscious thinking. So it makes us highly creative beings as well. Because we are mindful, anything that we think of or action, kritya, karma is always positive. And our positivity naturally will increase. We become good human beings even in the look itself. Because what you are inside is projected outside. What you see outside of you is not outside, it's within you. If you close your eyes, you don't see anything. You can imagine, you can see from your mind's eye, but when you open, you see things. Where do you see them? You see in your eyes. So everything that happens outside, we believe it's happening there, but it's happening within you. The moment you change your withinness, you're able to change the outside of you. This is the complete truth of our existence. Therefore, mindfulness also makes us live longer because we would have, our brains would be very young, like 25-year-old people, even at this age of, 75, if you are a meditator, the tips of the chromosomes will elongate and you will age slower and also pass away slower. So you live longer. These are all scientifically proven. You will age slower, so you will also pass slower. All right? So there are a lot of benefits of mindfulness. And if rhythm is mindfulness, as I just tried to prove or equate it, then definitely we need to realize that all our life practices that we need to do must be very rhythmic. Rhythmic in the sense that it benefits me and everybody around me, because that leaf of a tree and me, we are not different, because that leaf has water, air, heat in it. It has all the avenues that I have within myself. So how can I be different from that? And science has proven now in a tree, different leaves have different vibration and different understanding, and they can sense the feeling of human beings. You don't have to even speak. Go near a plant and it senses your feeling. So how does it sense? Because your vibration is taken, and everything happens through that vibration. And that's why when you see somebody, sometimes you immediately fall in love because your vibration match with that person. Or you kind of distance that person because you have some kind of odd feeling. Why? Because your rhythms are not equating with the rhythms of the other person. All right? So this is why mindfulness is rhythmic. All right, All right, so let me try and bring you to this, that what the researchers in quantum physics talk about is on the lower grid, you can see, is shame, guilt, anger, apathy, fear, desires, all these, pride, all these are on the lower rank of our vibration. The moment we cross willingness, which is the center or the threshold between the wrong and the good, which vibrates at 310 and gets into acceptance at 350, and reasoning, our vibration hertz per second goes to 400. After that, at the 500 level is our love. Love. Naturally, it arises. But how can it just arise without any behavior changes? All right. So I have tried to bring this issue of love. I believe that love is the foundation of our entire existence. And that's what even Buddha said, that love and compassion are innate in us. And without them, we are not human beings. Okay? So therefore, we need to develop this. And how can we develop love? Is through, which I call rich. The 4 pillars of love is relationship, integrity, compassion, and humanity. And we would naturally form in the rhythms of happiness. We bring trust, we bring belonging in ourselves. Now, according to quantum physics, this picture I picked up from the TED Talk. So at 500 is joy, and at 600 is peace. And when you cross 700 plus, you are in enlightenment completely, like Buddha. And mind you, Buddha said that we all human beings have compassion and love. It's only a question of awakening ourselves and realizing that and practicing towards it to be enlightened human being. And that enlightenment nature is in all of us. So he said that Buddha nature is existing in all of us. And this is the truth, absolute truth. And you can always practice yourself to show the world how you would like to, how you would like them to see you. If you want to be calm, peaceful looking, with a smile on your face, you can meditate on this. The reason why we meditate, we have to have a resolution when you sit for meditation. Why are you meditating? Is it calming your mind, bringing peace in your body, or smile on your face? That's when you practice. Like the science says, if you practice 42 minutes into 21 days, you would start to look that. And if you cross 10,000 hours of doing the same, you would perfectly look the way you want. This is what science talks about. And this is what Buddha 2,500 years ago said the same thing. All right, with this, I'll try to walk you through, again, all through practices of realizing each of these 4 pillars, okay, through mindful meditation. I'll explain you each of the pillars very short and try and walk you through. I'll try to complete in such a way that we have at least half an hour left for our discussions. And if there are not many questions, I can again take you through guru visualization or gazing visualization. So that will keep towards the end. But let me try and bring to you the 4 pillars. Okay. So the first pillar is relationship. When we talk about relationship, we are talking about two different areas. One is relationship with yourself. When you're able to be the light of yourself, look, kind of make friends with yourself and realize deeply that your mind, body, your organs inside, your prana, all these are one. When you are relating yourself as one, you are in the rhythm. You become completely remain in the balance, in that frequency. This is the absolute truth. All right. So when you are connected with your own inner self, you are living in rhythms. And that rhythm is definitely of happiness, no doubt about it. There is also the outer relationship, me and others, me and nature, me, others, not only necessarily human beings. It can be plants, insects, animals, everybody. And if you go deeper, we know that, we all have been born from a little seed. And, everything that exists on this planet Earth is in a very ecological sequence with rhythmic existence. It's only human beings that has been created by nature to destroy them, quote unquote. The moment we realize that we cannot exist without them outside, then we are in deeper relationship within ourselves and anybody outside us. The absolute truth, human being can't create anything on this nature, but nature has created human beings. So we have the elements of all that's given by planet Earth, the air, the water, the food inside us, and this all comes from the nature. And nature, you see the ecology, one helps the other in a very rhythmic manner so that everything exists in its own, beautiful sense of rhythms. It's only we destroy everything and we consume with so much of greed, pride, and anger without realizing that we are nothing without the elements outside of us. So just bringing you this understanding, let's do, a mindfulness practice again. But let me come to why I explained to you in the beginning. We began with a sitting posture. You might be able to play a piano with your hands behind, when you practice for a long period of time. Otherwise, for any practice, for any kind of practice, whether it's sitting on a sitar or drumming, or you have to have certain posture, right? In the same way, mindfulness requires a posture where you feel completely comfortable and that you can link your mind and body and the breath together. So that is the main reason why we try to bring a posture in our mindfulness practices. Now, I talked about grounding your legs parallelly if you're sitting on the chair or crossed, and knees touching on the floor, sitting on a high cushion if you're sitting with folded legs on the ground. And it is always essential to realize that we need to cross as many times as possible our hands in mudra like this or like this, with thumbs closed, simply because our right hand functions are controlled by our left hand functions are controlled by our right brain, and similarly our right hand is controlled by the left cognitive brain. All right. So given this fact, of course, I don't know if you use left hand. Generally I'm talking about right hand users, and when you cross them, you are connecting your two hemispheres together so that you come in a peace. You realize that women are much more emotional than men because they have very huge amount of connectivity beyond us. Women have 30% more connectivity than men do. And this is the reason why they are emotional. They can observe all the pressures more than men can do. Of course, I'm not challenging that men are not changing into becoming multitaskers and becoming more emotional, but men are more silo-driven and they have more the cognitive brains to use. And this is the old ancient science that says why men are better in physics and and in shapes and sizes because they have been trained that way right from Stone Age onwards. Anyway, that's another topic. So the reason why we need to, if possible, if you're sitting on a high chair, you should also cross your ankles so that your feet is touching, because when we cross our legs or hands in a certain manner so that we feel comfortable, then definitely we are in rhythmic with our body. That means our both brains in our head, in our is kind of connected and vibrating together. This is the reason. So let's sit back again in the mindfulness posture, and let's do a little gratitude meditation here. Okay, just to realize what relationship really means. Please get back into the posture I described, with your legs grounded, your hands resting on your inner thigh on your lap, with your eyes closed or drooped, your shoulders relaxed, your lower back pushed against the chair or slightly erect if you're sitting down without any pain, pressure, your neck slightly tucked in so that it's straight, locked with your back vertebra, your lips closed, teeth not biting. And just scan your body from toe to head. Feel every part is relaxed, like we did in the beginning. Walk through each part. If you find anything uneasy, try and bring that ease in that part of the body. Just be aware, and naturally it will heal you. Even if you have pain in some part of the body, it will slowly, gently go away. Bring your thoughts up to the head, shoulders relaxed. All right. When you feel relaxed, take 3 deep breaths in and slowly breathe out, feeling calmness in your mind and relaxation in your body. Think yourself in the womb of your mother, a little half seed in the womb of the mother, and half seed from father built you into a seed called the diploid or zygote, barely visible to our bare eyes. You gently started to grow, and your mother felt that you're coming in a new home. Every drop of water she drinks is for you. Every morsel food that she eats is for you. Every ray of sun she takes is for you. Every drop of water she takes is for you. She senses that you are in her. She feels grateful to the universe. She worries for you. She thinks for you every moment what food to eat, who to meet, how to speak. All that is for you. She talks to you. You feel in the womb, in your new womb, how mother is relating herself to you. You are grateful that she's so loving. And every movement she makes in her life is for you. It's 9 months now. You want now to show your face to your mother. And you decide to come out to the world from that safe and sound house of yours. The pain that mother goes through to deliver you is unimaginable. Yet she forgets the moment you're born, all her pain, and she embraces you with utmost love for you, unconditionally. She feels you are her. As a child, you gave her sleepless nights, changing your nappies, feeding you, being aware of herself every moment. She hardly slept to make sure that you are comfortable. Oh, Mother, without you, I am nobody. All my life is for you. My father has equally contributed for my being on this planet Earth. I'm grateful to my parents, and my first responsibility is for them. Even today, I'm this grown up, but my mother, my parents still feel for me and advise me as a little kid that I will always be a child to them, even if I became the Prime Minister of my country. I'm still a child to my mother, my father. I'm grateful to all the nature, the water, the rain, the air, the sun that gave me the nourishment to grow and to be who I am today. I'm grateful to all my environmental friends, extended families, my community, for grooming me and helping me, the person that I am today. I will always be grateful for every little thing that makes my life complete, including my pen, my cycle, my parts of my body, my plate. You can think of anything without which you are not yourself. You cannot move. You cannot be. So I'm grateful to everything within and outside me. I'm grateful to its existence, and my gratitude will always reside in the deep recesses of my heart for my mother and my father. You can make movements on your chair, rub your palms, bring them against your closed eyes. Open your eyes halfway, hold it there for a little while, and open them completely, filled with love and compassion. All right, friends, here are some questions for you just to reflect, not now, but later. But you can reflect, how did you feel in your body, mind, with this gratitude, mindfulness meditation? Was there any issue that you felt relevant or not? Let us know. That will be at the end of the thing. I forgot to say that now, if you can just, I don't know if the poll was set.
Yes, sir, the poll is set.
Okay, yes. Thank you. So, poll is set, and we'll have another poll at the end of the session. Kindly fill them without being irritated. Thank you. So let's go to the next, because we do not have much time. To give you more time, I will continue. So the second pillar, rich I made them into abbreviation, RICH, R-I-C-H, R for relationship, which we just date with our, with our existence, with our mother and the nature. And then I stands for integrity, and RIC stands for compassion, and H for humanity. So on love, if we have these four pillars, RICH, we will always be in the renewing movement, and we will proceed beyond our love, get into peace and enlightenment reasoning. So relationship is so very important to understand. Often we realize that young people commit suicide because of some kind of failure, or that they fall in love and break and they think this is the life that has ended. It's not true. Our prime responsibility is to our parents. We have no right to take any action against ourselves without their permission. All right, so integrity is something that it's not just about the ethics, right, good, bad, or good, ugly, or right, wrong. It's beyond this. It is not just, what you say you do, and what you do you say. Not just that. It is about believing completely in non-dualistic pattern. Of course, we all live in dualistic life. That's good, that's bad, that's ugly, that's beautiful. We always differentiate, and this is the intelligence of our mind. It quickly separates between good and bad. But the truth is, if you can see things as they are, you realize they are not different. They are beautiful in their own spaces. And this is the absolute truth. So integrity is, having right ethics and right moral. Now, moral can be very different from culture, from religion, but ethics are quite universal, and ethics could be individual or professional for doctors, engineers, lawyers, and so on. Moral can be also different from, it's about right and wrong. Okay? And, certain cultures, what they do may be felt wrong by other culture and vice versa. So integrity is beyond all this. It's beyond all this because we see everything as they are in its absolute oneness. Okay? So can I, what is this coming? All right. So let's try to do another meditation on kind of ethical decision. So if you can again go back to your posture of mindfulness. Please sit comfortably with your hands resting on your inner lap, eyes closed, teeth not biting, lips closed, tongue touching lightly upper palate. And let's get into a mindfulness meditation. Body, mind, and speech in perfect oneness. I send my heart, along with the sound of the bell, may all my loved ones awaken from forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. So flow with your breath in and out. In this posture, you imagine that in a nearby area where you live, there is a natural disaster, and you decide to go with your car, with your van, filled with goodies, with your tent, with your clothes and things like that. That would be necessary for you to help these people who are in distress. For a few days you lived there, you helped people in distress, you built houses for them, you comforted them. Now things have settled, so you are returning back to your town. As you're driving, through the town, you suddenly realize there are three people waiting in a bus stop. But you pass the car and you stop it at a little distance. And you start to reflect, who are they? One is a very old woman suffering who needs to be picked up to the hospital. Another one is a very great friend who saved your life once. And the third one is a pretty lady who you always admired and wanted to be with her. You realize that the car is packed with so many things. You only have one seat, that also which you can make with great difficulty. You can only give lift to one person. So you are in an ethical dilemma. The dilemma is, who should I pick up now and take along with me? Suddenly a great idea sparkles in your mind simply because you begin to see things from your inner self, from your compassion, from your kindness, and you rear the car back to the bus stop, and you come out and request your friend, my friend, I realize you're pacing. There must be something that you need to get fast to your home. And he realizes that his wife is hospitalized and he needs to go. And then he says, why don't you take this elderly lady and go to the hospital along with my car? I'll pick it the next day. And the man stays behind with the love of his life to take a bus later. Often we make mistakes in this juncture simply because our mind is always preoccupied and it's in a different rhythm altogether. When our self is in rhythmic self, we become highly creative and we become highly meaningful in our own existence. So my friends, always try to live in the present moment, being yourself. You can rub your hands, put them against your eyes, open them halfway, hold it there for a little while, continue to breathe in and breathe out, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So here are other thoughts that came to me. What do you feel? Versus how do you feel, you know? So when can you use such a kind of mindfulness practice in your, if you are practicing day to day, all right? What would be the kind of, like I say, when you sit for a meditation, you have to have a reason. So the reason that you can always speak to create your own inner self better as will be seen by the outer self. The third one is compassion. We're losing time, so I'll try to rush a little bit. So, compassion is better than empathy, definitely, because empathy, you feel the pain of the other person completely and you suffer like that person. You can't do anything, but compassion is one step ahead, better because you feel the pain, you understand that person completely, but you don't embody the pain in yourself. You go out to help, either mentally, physically, whichever is possible. All right, so let's take another short mindfulness, loving kindness, because compassion is so important. Like I said, love and compassion are a part of our existence. It is the innateness of every human being. It's in all human beings. It's only that it's either blocked or covered. We need to awaken from it. That's it. So compassion, if it is a part of us, then first important thing is we need to be compassionate to ourselves. Because if we don't look after ourselves, don't take care of ourselves, if we are not well ourselves, we cannot make others happy and well too. So we need to vibrate first within ourselves and then only vibrate with others. So let's get back to the mindfulness posture again. Please sit comfortably with your hands resting on the lap, shoulders relaxed, your lower back slightly erect, your tongue touching the upper palate, teeth not biting, lips closed, eyes completely drooped or closed. And now you can think of yourself as a little baby on the lap of your mother. Look at that baby, how helpless that baby is. She or he is looking up into the face of the mother, and the mother understands every little thing that the child looks with. Send that child in you a loving kindness message. Be well, be happy, be free from fear, be safe, be loved and cared for. May you always be happy. Now think about this little baby, fast forward it to an elderly, very old person in you. Your children have left, you're all by yourself. You are jittery, you are not sure of yourself, you're walking with a stick. Send a loving kindness message to this elderly person in you. May you be well and happy. May you be free from fear and suffering. May you be loved and cared. May you learn to live always in relationship with the existence. May you be happy and well. Now think yourself as who you are today and send loving kindness to yourself. May you be well and happy. May you be successful in your life. May you be free from fear and any anxiety. May you always be cared and loved by your relatives, friends, your parents, by teachers, by other loved ones. May you always be in harmony with yourself and the nature and everyone around you. May you be happy, well, always. Now with this compassion, loving kindness message or prayer, you can rub your hands, put them against your eyes, open them halfway, hold it there for a little while, and open your eyes filled with love and compassion. All right, I'm sorry to rush a bit faster. Here is another thought-taking question. Do you think loving kindness is important? Yes or no? If no, why? Yes, why yes? Just giving you some thinking questions in your mind. Question yourself, which is very important. All right, the final pillar is humanity. On the love, the four pillars rich. The last one is humanity. Humanity is to care and share with others. And that is the innateness of all people on this planet Earth. Humanity is greater than status, as you can see in this picture reflected, where a rickshaw man, the lady is holding an umbrella for the rickshaw man, not to be in the rain. Humanity is to understand others and care for them. A suffering being, a suffering insect, a suffering animal, like in IIT, Professor Priyadarshini, his wife, Julie, and many other friends around, they have a committee who try to look after the stray dogs that have no food around. This is humanity. All right, so let's try to take another short meditation on humanity, but let me quickly explain you one. When I was flying to London in 2016, when I had the opportunity to speak at the House of the Parliament on the Gross National Happiness Concept, when we took off from Delhi to Heathrow, the first general announcement that came on the flight was, if you're contributed or if you donated £1, you will feed a very poor and hungry child in remote England. And I couldn't believe that England once was ruling the world. It had the empire so large that the sun never set. Now such a country is today begging, was my first thought. Then I thought I heard wrong, but I fished out of the seat pocket to find out, yes, what the announcement came was true. And then I suddenly thought, my little country, Bhutan and England, let me compare the wealth. And I couldn't even imagine that we would have 1 millionth part of the British wealth with us in Bhutan. But then suddenly I felt so rich, back in Bhutan, that we don't have any hungry and cold child. Because if we see anyone hungry and cold on the street, the first important thing that every Bhutanese has taken as his own duty or responsibility, out of probably is the culture or religion, I don't know, is to take responsibility of the child or person until we find a solution. So we care and share with others. This was what was missing in the British Empire. Anyway, that's a short story. But let's do a meditation on generosity. Please sit back again comfortably on your chairs, legs grounded, your hands resting on your inner lap, on your thighs, shoulders completely relaxed, your eyes completely drooped or closed, teeth not biting, lips closed, tongue touching the upper palate, your neck slightly erect, your chin slightly tucked in so that your neck is erect, your lower back is erect, your bottom is sitting properly. Please feel comfortable and take 3 deep breaths in and out through your nose. In, out, in, out, in, out. Feel completely relaxed and imagine that you're taking a brisk walk in the late part of the morning through a small suburb town. You see an old man sitting on an open area with some eggs to be sold from his little farm back home. He's walked miles together with that eggs on his back to come to that place to sell it. He hasn't sold a single egg. You are approaching towards that man. Then suddenly you see a lady also following you. And because you are a good human being, you ask the lady to go ahead. And the lady asks for the eggs. And it is 1 rupee per egg. She asks for 30 eggs and says she'll pay 24 bucks. The man hasn't sold any eggs. And he decides, anyway, I haven't sold anything. I think this is a good bargain. Let me sell it, and gives away 30 eggs for 24 bucks. You could not understand. You're just standing there while the man is talking to you. You're looking at the lady. She goes, gets into her posh car, drives away with a friend to a restaurant nearby. It's visible. She goes and sits there and orders her breakfast. And later you realize that she has given a tip of 400 bucks for a breakfast of 600. You feel so guilty because you did not bargain. You also bought some eggs from this man for the same price. Having realized this, on your way back from that brisk walk, you pay the guy double the price, filled with gratitude and sorry for him. He was feeling cold, you had a jacket on you. You also took that jacket out and put it on his shoulders. Looked at you and blessed you. Feeling totally generous. Understanding the kindness and the heart of this man. With tears in your eyes, you come back home to promise that you will educate every person who will go to town and buy food from poor people with more than the price they've asked for. Since then, they have taken that journey of generosity to be generous to the people who deserve. With this, please rub your hands, bring back your thoughts to your body. Put them against your eyes. Open them halfway, hold it there for a little while. And when you're ready, you can completely open your eyes, filled with love and compassion. So my wish this morning for all of you, for all the time to come is Tashidilik, which means may you be well and happy. May all the auspiciousness be always with you in all times of your life. May you be the light for yourself, your family, your friends, community, your country. May you be happy in all forms of your actions. May you bring happiness to the lives that you touch. With this wish, please permit me to sing my happiness song, and then we can open for question and answer. All right. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. And I'm not in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do. But I'm not in a hurry. Thank you so much. This song was for the mind, not for the body. So happiness is always with us. The moment we learn to be in rhythm, we'll always be in happiness. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session, and I'm sure the participants would have really enjoyed it. One thing that proves that the session was very engaging is that they also engaged that they did not get time to even type the questions in the chat box. So that's not that's not a thing to worry about in any way. So if you're interested to ask any question, please feel free to write now, or you may just raise your hand and we could take your question.
If not, if there's little time, I can take you through visualization meditation or guru meditation. But
so let's wait for some time, and if they are not, if they do not have a question from their side, then we could move on to that. Yes, so we have the first question coming in, which asks that, do you have a daily practice?
Yes, I do. I do have a daily practice, and this practice is very simple for me. As I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I push back myself against the bedpost, and then I reflect what happened yesterday. How can I make it incrementally very little good today? And then I go into, depending with the time, generally I do a long meditation in the morning, but definitely more than 6 minutes. So in that before that meditation, I take a resolve. Today, I will be peaceful and calm through the day. Such a kind of resolve I take. Of course, this is not a resolve that I take something else. Then I continue for meditating for a certain period of time. Then I sleep down on the bed, do mindful little bit of stretches. And as I jump out of the bed, the first thing I do is I go down to Mother Earth and say, thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, universe. I have another 24 hours in front of me. Thank you for making me awake. I've taken a new birth this morning. I'll try to work on you with all the focus that I bring goodness in others and myself. This is the practice I carry. Thank you, Mama Ken, for asking this. It was very late in New Zealand, but thank you for asking that.
So building on that same question, I mean, the audience would also tend to gain on the understanding if somebody really wants to begin this mindfulness practice. So as a beginner, what are the small steps which will help them, make it a habit or a routine in their life? So if you can suggest something on that, I think the audience would also benefit from it.
Right. So you see, if I ask you, many of you cycle, drive, how do you do when you cycle? You don't realize in your mind that you're paddling, you're steering, or for that matter, even the car. You only have in your mind a destination from A to B. And that's how you move. Hi, Anna there, from Australia. The movement that you do, you see, consciously you see people passing you, you greet them, or, you have gestures, but something that you don't realize is you're driving. How does that happen? Or you're cycling, how does that happen? It's all written in the subconscious mind. So mindfulness is not something that can happen overnight. You need to practice over a long period of time. I'm not disappointing you, but take small steps. From now, right the moment you realize I need to be mindful, take deep breath in and feel that breath that you are breathing in yourself. That's the first step. You need to think. You need to remind yourself as often as possible that you are alive, that you are breathing. Because this is something we never realized. That's the first little step that you can take. And like I said, every morning you can take 3 minutes on your bed just to breathe in and breathe out. Listen to your breathing in and out. And of course, in the beginning, the mind will float away, wander away. But gently invite the mind, saying, please come back to myself and connect with my body. And just listen, flow with the breath in. Feel the air at the tip of your nose entering. Feel your chest expand. Feel your stomach rise. As you breathe out, feel the air leave the tip of your nose. Feel your chest reduce, your stomach fall. You can just flow with that and feel that movement of your air in and out. Again, the mind will float away. The moment you realize, I was on my breath, it has gone away. Invite the mind to come back. It's like falling in the beginning as a child. You ride the cycle, you fall, you get up again, you try, you fall. You constantly fall until you get to the practice. So what happens, after a little while, you'll realize yourself, thoughts will come, but they'll not bother you. Your mind will not wander. They'll come, but they'll go. They'll come, they'll go. Thoughts can't be eliminated. They are a part of us. They'll always be there. But your practice will let the thoughts not make you will not imprison you. It'll let you walk your mind with your breath. So this is a little step that you can do. And we are all working people. So every 2 hours, try to make a little movement around in your office area, doesn't matter. Few steps, try to take a very gentle steps with your toes touching the ground first. Feel that, make little movements of your body. A lot of Kriya Yoga teaches this. Make movements. There are many movements for your body. Sit down, do 1 minute of mindful breathing in and out. And I promise you will become fresh and energetic like the time you started your morning with.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're moving on to the next question, which is by Dr. Swati Patra, who asks that, are children more attuned towards mindfulness? If so, why does it reduce as we grow?
Yes, in fact, the challenge is because, science has proven that we use only 5% of our conscious mind. The 95% of our mind is used by subconscious, which is already written as a child. So what happens as children is they are very inquisitive. There are stages of their growth. They challenge you. It's an enjoyable age of children are at 2, and then they begin to challenge you as the leaders of the house, and they question you every time. Parents get, they lose patience. They sew away the child, say, go away, I'll tell you later. Their inquisitiveness, their curiosity is killed. So they start to adopt in their subconscious mind what is there. How is my father behaving? How is my mother behaving? How is my elders doing? So they start to pick up everything from them. And slowly, over the time, they lose all the practice of their inquisitiveness, their curiosity, and they flow with what is there outside of them. They do not connect with themselves. So a very important fact is children, as they grow up, as we grow up, all of us, we start to disconnect ourselves, with others and the nature. We become somebody that the nature so provides, as we say, the environment provides. Is it the education environment that tells you become the market product, become the best engineer and get the best job? Is that the life? And I think this is where all our conscious mind is led. Let me do my best and get the best job. I'll earn a lot of money. I'll be happy. This is hedonic. This is like running on a treadmill. When you reach there, it's over. You don't have more to do. Then you have to think more about it. But I think we are forgetting life as such. The moment we learn to connect ourselves, with others and the nature, we are in connection completely with the rest of the world. So therefore, thank you, sir, for asking this question. Children at the young age, of course, they are more than mindful. They are very naughty also. But, there is a pattern of how to look after the children when they are in the womb. What should mother sense? Where should she move? What kind of food she eat? When the child is born until the age of 7 or 8, if you have studied, I'm sure you know Mahabharata, Abhimanyu, the story of him. Children can already begin to build up in their subconscious in the womb of the mother. When they are born, they only sense and pick from visual, from sounds that they hear. So what they hear, what they visualize is all that matters in their growth. I've written a book on upbringing of happy children. So maybe very soon, that book will be published by Lead Start in Mumbai. It's also getting translated in many languages. Maybe you can read that book. All of those aspiring parents, you will find how to raise happy children in life. Thank you. I don't know if I answered that question, but
that's really a nice thing. Can you take up on the next question, which is on how do human dynamics negatively affect our mindfulness?
How do human beings get affected?
Negatively affect our mindfulness. How do human dynamics negatively affect our mindfulness?
Yeah, I think partly I answered because it's the environment, our senses, sensitization takes better of us, holds better than us. Our mind gets imprisoned in thoughts, in the processes that are thrown to us. So our perceptions are taken away from our own realness. So for example, advertisement in India in 2013, when I was invited to give a talk of gross national happiness to Aligarh Muslim University, I did a little research on advertisement in India, and I found then India spent $412 billion on advertisement, equivalent to that. And I divided with the population then to find that every Indian would get 20,000 rupees per capita. Huge amount. If it is a family of 5 people, it's 1 lakh every year for a family, which is enough to sustain a family in a rural life. This is a kind of sensitization it's thrown onto us that actually overrides our own mind, our own thinking process. And because it overrides us, we are no more mindful because we believe what is thrown to us is true. You see the advertisement, it says, use this product, you will look beautiful, you'll be energetic. Recently, we all know that, the immunity issue because of COVID-19 came so much. $billion industries have been created with products that are meaningless, but people throw money into it just to feel safe. It's not true. And Anna there from Australia will very much, believe in this because she works along with the nature and the environment. But I think the whole perception of our existence is taken over. Well, our minds are imprisoned, in short. how can we come out of this prison, is to realize our own innate capability as human beings, that we are more powerful than anything else. And that can only happen when we connect with ourselves, others, and the nature.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. And moving on to the next question, it is, can intrapersonal skill improve happiness? How to improve intrapersonal skills?
You see, intrapersonal skill basically is, you just can't, you have to understand the individual indifferences. We are all human beings, definitely. But my interest, your interest, my skills, your skills, your thinking process, your perception, my perception, written in the subconscious are very different. The first step towards that is to understand the individual differences, that we are different, but we are same human beings. That appreciation, when you begin with, what happens is your dualistic perspective, that I'm better than that guy, or that guy is not doing well, or he's really the bully of the thing. Rather than going that way, you start to feel sorry for that person from other perspective, because you're looking at the positive side of that human being. When you begin to look at the positive side and not the negative side of the human being, what happens is you begin to nourish unconsciously. I didn't talk about this, we didn't have time, but a grown-up person in India may have about anything between 50 to 100 trillion cells in a body. And the genetic science says that one cell, that's so little, which is independent itself, complete by itself, has equivalent to 1.4 volt of energy. Now, if you are a huge guy with 100 trillion cells, you are a living field of 1400 trillion voltage of power. You see? So the moment when you nourish somebody, like loving kindness, you know that your colleague in the office is, has a negative side. And you try to find out what is the negative, what makes that friend negative. There's always a cause for everything that happens. The moment you find that why that chap is jealous, is because I'm better than that person, that's why he's jealous. Or that I'm more successful in this area than him or her. Then what you can do is you can just bring that person in your mind and send loving kindness to that person or compassion to that person, saying, may you be successful, may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you be filled with all your inspirations, may you always, you see, when you do that, you're sending your, through that energy power that you have, you're sending messages to that person. And over the time, I promise you, that person will start to act very different towards you. So you can always develop, the basic thing is you should not take somebody from the face value. You need to understand why is that face value there. The moment you understand, then you are able to nourish that person with your loving kindness or with your prayers, whatever. Somebody is jealous of you, the truth is that you are better than that person. Somebody says something to anger you, and if you get angry, that means your mind is taken by that person because you're not in control of yourself. So if we understand these basics, we'll be able to create a better intra or interpersonal skills in our working environment. I don't know if that's helpful.
No, that's right. They say that positive vibes do have an impact on other persons. So you can actually transmit that. That's good. Okay, sir. So we move on to the next, which is what is good while meditation? Try to focus on one thought or let the brain wander and let it choose.
See, mindfulness practice is various. What do we mean by mindfulness? In the very beginning, I tried to explain you. It's not that you are focusing one thing and you remain there. No. If you're working here, you have to be mindful or aware of what is around you. It's only that what you should not do is your mind should not float into the past or into the future. It should not happen. The rest of that happens in your space and time that you're given by the universe here and now. is fine. What you do doesn't matter. Okay? The only thing is you should not live in the past or in the future. That's the only thing that matters in mindfulness. And what was the question? Sorry, come again.
So it was about while you're doing mindfulness practice or meditation, should you allow the mind to wander and choose on a topic of its own, or should you have something?
So,
Should you focus on one thought?
So there are different things. Given this fact, now the purpose of your meditation, mindfulness, what is it? Now, if there are a lot of thoughts that bother you all the time, anxiety is multiple emotions that comes to us, and often it challenges. Then what you can do in the meditation is you can sit and think, why is this bothering me? Question that. Everything has a reason. So when you go deeper into every reason, you get an answer. Question that answer. You go deeper. It's like peeling an onion, You peel one peel thrown, second all that. At the core, you find nothing. Then either you laugh about it or you just let it go. And this thought will never bother you again. Even if it came, it will just leave you because it has the answer. So it depends what you are trying to meditate. If it is calmness, to just bring a focus, then you focus on something to improve your focus. If it is just a calm mind, you just listen to breathing in and out. Just focus on your breath. You'll be calm. So there is a purpose of mindful meditation. You need to decide what is the purpose of doing so. Then you will be there, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir. So we come to the last question, which is, while I'm doing meditation, all my stress and anxiety is remembered, even if I also lose my concentration. Why?
Yeah, exactly. This is what I said. Because those thoughts need to be brought back and questioned. The moment you are able to question them, you get an answer, and it will continue to, question. You get an answer, question the answer until you go to the core. Because then you realize that this is really nothing. It doesn't really help me in any way. So it will pass away from you. So it's questioning. Your mind must question. It's all right. When you sit for meditation and you are concentrating on something, your mind floats away and a lot of thoughts come, it's all right, no problem. Thoughts are a part of our existence. But if you don't want those thoughts to bother you, you need to question those thoughts. Why am I having this thought? You'll have an answer. Answer that thought. That answer. Question that thought. That answer, I mean. Then you get another answer. Question that answer. You go to the core and you'll find nothing at the end. It could be about future. Why am I worried about future? Do I know the future? No. Then why am I worried? No, because my children are growing. Do I know? Can I wake up tomorrow to realize this? No. So you question every answer that you get, continue to question. You reach to a point where you feel, this was a useless thought. From that moment, that thought will not bother you anymore. I hope that's helpful.
I truly feel so that it is the person who's asked the question. Okay, so it's almost time. We have just 1 minute left. So I would really like to thank you for this wonderful session, because I believe, and in fact it's true also, that learning is complete with application. And today's workshop has been a complete learning experience for all those who attended it. Thank you so much, sir, for making it possible. I would also like to thank the participants for being such a wonderful audience. And last but not the least, the organizers and volunteers of the workshop, whose relentless efforts have helped conclude the workshop successfully. Thank you, everybody. We'll be meeting soon in the next event of the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody. All my love to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tanushree, for this very much entertaining session. It was a very helpful workshop for all of us. And next, we will like to move on to our guest talks. We have 4 guest talks in this session. And Sangeeta ma'am is with us, I guess.
Hello. Yes.
Thank you. So I will just take 2 minutes.
Just a moment, Shankar. Before starting the session, I would like to request Professor Pradashi Patnaik to play the slides. because that will mark the beginning of a session. We are moving to the second session of this conference. So if sir is here.
Thank you, sir. So I guess we can start off with the session, and I would like to welcome all of you again to the second session of this day, which will be moderated by Professor Sangeeta Bhattacharya. And let me Sangeeta Das Bhattacharya, sorry. And let me introduce her just to few lines, and then she will take over the session from me. Professor Sangeeta Das Bhattacharya is currently a professor in the School of Medical Science and Technology at IIT Kharagpur. She did her Doctor of Medicine in May 1999 from Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, Baltimore, USA. Her research interests include internal medicine and pediatrics, public health and epidemiology, healthcare delivery for children with chronic medical conditions, telemedicine, and electronic health record teaching methods for evidence-based medicine and evidence-based health policy and college mental health. So I would like to welcome Professor Sangeeta Das Bhattacharya to take over the session and moderate the session, in which we have 4 guest talks. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. It is our pleasure to have such a distinguished group of panelists this morning. I'd like to introduce our very first speaker, Anna Crozier. She's the founder of Wild Earth Natural Textile Production. She's a freelance writer and consultant. And I'm sure that we have a lot to learn this morning from her talk. So each of these talks are going to be 20 to 25 minutes long with 5 minutes of question. So I'm just going to ask Anna Crozier to start. Thank you.
Hi, look, thank you so much for this invitation. It's such an honor. And I just want to give my immense gratitude to the Reiki Center for Excellence for the Science of Happiness, the IIT Karankapur School of Language and Linguistics, Jadavpur University, the CB Center for Physics and Music, the Jadavpur University, Dr. Sandhu Chatri, Professor Priyadashi Patnaik, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, and Dr. Archie Banerjee, Indian Institute of Technology, Karankapur, West Bengal, for this invitation to share these thoughts and experiences. So immense gratitude to everyone. And I'm going to share my screen to put on this PowerPoint presentation. So I'll do this now. There you go. I'll just open this up. Yeah. So I'm just going to move to the side so you're not distracted as we go through this presentation. My topic is Rhythms of Earth, Our Body to Earth Interface, a soliloquy by Anna Crozier. And I'll just take this down to get to the next one. So Earth rhythms are creation sciences. All forms of existence are generated by the rhythms of divine sound and light. And within this is the sacred fluidity of language, verse, poetry, throughout the interfacing of the universe, earth, the nature spirits, the non-human spirit, and us, our human. The question of us is assessing whether our human is existing within the spatiality of heart coherence, and then listening to the poetry humming our membranes, our neurological pathways, our heart, our inner abode. How many are not in this conscious experience, but are apart from these states of our poetic beingness within our own nature? The cosmic birthing, I'll just move this down. The cosmic birthing is a rarefied atmosphere, and in the sacred texts of the pre-Vedic Mayan manuscripts, the sacred of our cosmic birthing is expressed as the intentional design of creation. The design is for the literacy of our sacred being within the narrative of ourselves, our DNA. The sacred design was and is intended for all species, human and non-human. The intelligence throughout the universe is an orchestration of collaborative conduits in sacred geometric, diagrammatic, advanced emotional webbing of woven light and sounds in the sacred of all interactive language, a braiding of silence and sound, visible and invisible expressions that are felt and experienced hour by hour, minute by minute. The symmetry of love is the currency of this luxurious wealth of energy fields, flowing through and between all manifested forms, uninterrupted, unimpeded. This sacred ecology is a self-organized, self-perpetuating circulatory field, interfacing and enveloping the sacred spheres of subtle and profound energies. They are subtle energies that have voluminous diversity of sound and light and are indescribably exquisite. The ecstatic feelings are wrapped, enfolded, entwined in the hemispheric balances of our inner divine feminine, our divine masculine. There is this profound question as to why our human is apart from the constant of these resonating fields, why we are not conduits between the inner earth field, the entwining lucid encoded verses, this sacred literacy that flows within our earth, our universe. All we can do to recognize an absurdity to the volume of pain throughout our societal ecologies and our human management of our earth due to this lack of connection. This is the spirit dance, the profundity of life force that bends and spirals in a field of subtle energies that emit the sounds of celebration and joy. The field contains emotions that generate sensating, ecstatic music, projecting this coalescence of the forces of life itself. Advanced sentient beings, human and non-human, experience this liberated field and have an instilled sense of belonging within the sacred fire, the unencumbered dance of sound and light, the constant of happiness. The primal voice of nature belongs within us. The primal voice of earth and nature arrives from the cosmic womb to the womb of the woman. It is the animated presence within the soul of our human. This is the intentional sacred habitat of the long lineage of our ancestral chords to the sounds, the rhythms of the universe, and the irrefutable depths of poetry and the musical chords within earth, the music throughout the ecologies of creation. Earth rolls through her orbit, singing the rhythms of her days and the rhythms of her nights within the sacred of her heart coherent breath. the ecstatic pulse within inner earth, the spirit's illuminated shafts of braided love, spirit, light, and sounds are an expression of the highest being charge that expands time in the depths of ourselves, the respiration of our human. The qualities of an illuminated state is either fully or partially connected to the earth, her rhythms, her advanced sentient being, her heart coherent breath. The emotional body of our human expresses the parameters of this voluptuous braiding of light or the lack of light. This is in the feelings within our eyes, our voice, our language. The eyes hold the inner valleys of the emotional body that are empathetically seen and felt in the subtle energies expressed in the silent spaces between each other. The sound and rhythms of our sentient being are so reliably expressed as a state of time in the language and tone of our expressed thoughts. In the states of partial disconnection, the language will be projecting frenetic time, fatigue time, exacerbated time, narrow parameters of time. Those parameters of time within the body will inhabit an inhibiting flow of spirit and love, and too often the listening has been disenabled. We do not hear or feel the other's heart. In the reintegration of time, there is a synthesis of the harmonics, the pulses of the quantum, electron and photon distribution within the body, the auric field, and the conveyance of these subtle tonalities into the arterial fields of our atmosphere, our earth. There are no seams between the electrons and photons, as they are emitting in the quantum distribution and reciprocity of the harmonic lacings of love. We are at a pivotal time in Earth's history, and there is recognition that the repair, the rehabilitation of Earth's non-human species is so vital for the re-enlivenment of the sensorial, sensual music over our large landscapes. This process is all about recapturing of the spirits of nature and the go-direct conduit lines of spirit communication with the advanced sentient literacy of our universe. The non-human species are without the combined barriers of the interlacings of all layers of our human. They are unfettered and exist within the quantum. These are some of my favorite animals, the umamats of Alaska. Extraordinary animals. And the puma from Peru. We can look at the interspecies and receive so many tutorials on their states of joy and love, peace and serenity. When we enter into these unencumbered states of love, states of celebration within the body, there is a lightness of being, a feeling of silk within. We're able to measure the inner field of our own quantum mass of electrons and photons within and beyond. We feel the spatiality and serenity within the other. These peculiars from Peru are exquisite. They express love, compassion, serenity, and the lightness of being as a constant. The design of our human is formed within the rhythms of poetics, the sensual language, the softness of connection, human, non-human, and the divine informing of sound and light becomes our state of wellness. The intentional design for our human to be a conduit that is part of, not apart from Earth, the animals and the universe. Creation is not a disconnected state. Creation arises from this quantum ecstatic music, the harmonic pulses that spin the language of love throughout the universe, Earth, our sacred body. The spatiality, the rhythm of the entwining language of sound, light, love, and spirit creates this coalescence that is experienced and sensorially imparted by the orchestras of Earth's body and nature's diverse musicians. The tonality of these orchestras of sound and light uplift the spirit and are the gifts of phenomenal heart, body, intelligence, spirit coherence that wraps us, enfolds our human in the same parallel of time. Earth's skin is caressed by the qualities of the harmonics of our earth, the universe, and the collective field of the emotional lightness, so lightly touching the skin of our earth. The sacred of earth is massaged in the sounds of these narratives. The feeling of the aurora borealis lights gives an insight into the depths of love that flows throughout our universe and the projections of Earth's skin, her inner being. These quantum lights of love travel within Earth and transmit this love within and between the North and South Pole. The intentional design of our human was formulated as an advanced heart-resonant, coherent organism. The informing translated to the allegory of poetic literacy and the songs imparted by all non-human and human living forms. This awareness has been experienced in the ancient past and remains within some geolocations of Earth's societies. The unharnessed, elevated emotions of collective love remain as an invitation to be in the coherent rhythms, a reciprocal state of singing to the spirits of nature, the spirit of earth. In the scenes between the entwining music of the universe, the mellifluous tones of earth and nature's spirits, our human spirits were and are designed to belong within an ecstatic place of these heart-coherent melodies of supraluminal time. The heart of our human was and is intended to be within the enfolded presence of a spirited, aware, ecological habitat. The inner heart, the heart of the spirit, is a supercharged vortex that is directly connected to the spirit of the universe. Psyche today has an imperative pulse to remember the key to the inner heart and its fully enabled expressions of love. It remains possible to exist within the original design as a human spirit in this gift of time. It is the skin of Earth that initially alerts us to the whimsical, the delightful, the awe of Earth's geophysical architecture and voices of the great spirits of Earth. They are in full concert with the non-human species and the lyrical sensations of the music that predominates in the wild, unharnessed, unencumbered, and vast places of Earth's landscapes. We can only ask why we've cut down these sensorial orchestras of Earth, the presence of the elementals, the non-human species, and all those players of the musical instruments that exist in the installations of nature. The multilingual, the expansively diverse masters of sound who braid the light, the sounds, and the verses. We can only gasp at the loss of the loquacious, sensual, spirit weavings over those vast landscapes. The visual, sensating presence that is audible, visible, invisible, and with the eddies of aromas that tingle within our olfactory centers. The orchidaceae, the rose. We can go deeper and experience the extraordinary depths of music within Earth herself. The skin of our body, the skin of our Earth. Optimally, the authentic life force within all skins is experienced by the sensory receptors of our human anatomy. The sensory receptors glide the sound and light to the heart in the brain, the emotional brain, the limbic brain, and the heart within the body. The heart in the brain, the heart in the body, is a conference of the webbing of neurological intelligence, heart coherent intelligence, the currency of magnetic love. They pulse between and within. the original brain, the telepathic brain. This is on the left. And on the right are the motor sensory auditory cortex that receive and respond in the deep waves of their hemispheric listening. The pineal eye and the metathalamic domes guide the breath of the spirit into the emotional brain and impart the feelings of the heart, the illuminations of spirit directly within the optic pathways. When fences are intentionally created by psyche in the interfacing of our speak between the skin of earth, the skin of the body, then the feelings of the ecstatic ecology within the body establish narrow parameters of receipt and perception of existence. Nature's designs render a collaborative and evocative emotion, invisible, immaterial, sustainable, spirited, life force. Our footsteps can walk upon earth and feel the literacy of her being, and this is the precise experience that we are forging in the process of recapturing the music of our soul's inheritance. It arrives with our acceptance, being with the presence of nature, earth, and the playgrounds of our universe. In these expanded parameters of perception, we hold no obstruction to this intelligent design of tonality, the resonant fields of light. These pulses that are the holistic characteristic inherent in the wrapping of all skins. This is the return that is inclusive of reciprocity throughout our interspecies interface. Life force is symmetry. Symmetry has a spirited, animated wave field. These bioelectrical waves engage left and right hemisphere of the brain. This action evokes a sensual feeling, an aromatic field of coherent heart emotion. These harmonic enfolding symmetries wrap our body and are expressed as a self-regulating field of auditory, visual, and kinetic pulses. We call this the poem of existence. So who is listening and how do we listen? A frequency is a radio wave. These high-spin or low-spin radio waves have proportions that determine the speed, the breadth, the diameters of the narrow parameters of it, or expanded parameters of sound and braided light, the envelopes of spirit and love. The greater the expanded vacuum space of our empathetic interlacings with the spin within earth, nature, and our quantum literacy, the more present and dependable are the tonalities of the heart to hear and to heal. The electron and photon pulses sweep into the unconscious and conscious compartments within the brain, the nerves, the cerebral spinal fluid, the endocrine system, the organs of the body, the blood, and the breath. It is a process whereby a conscious altering of frequency will create profound change and regeneration within. It is possible to monitor the subtle waves within our human spirit awareness and action this altering in a spontaneous and self-regulating focus, and it then becomes a habit. This is an image of interactive electron storms in an alpaca staple of 18.5 micron. It shows the aliveness of natural fibers. This image was taken 18 months after sharing. So micro to macro. And the botanical species, the trees, the elementals, the microorganisms, the hyphae and bacteria are in this spontaneous interactive attunement, a conscious intelligence who are expressing the thrive of their harmonic vibrational ecology. This is when within the original blueprint of a universal design remains. When these microspecies are very present in our soils and all expressions of their health is in our atmosphere. When our human becomes cognizant of this other state of existence, then it's possible to enter into a disease-free orbit of automatic correction. The content of this resonant field is this animated serenity, the constant state of ecstatic harmonic pulses. Everyone has the ability and capacity to participate in this university for renewable sensory awareness. We can now envision collective experiences that contain awe, a state of belonging within Earth and not apart from Earth. Development of extrasensory perception, the space-time coordinates and holography. Increasing the harmonics and resonance of the interior audio-visual videos to listen to Earth's rhythms, her sounds, her music, translates to entering into the space-time coordinates and applying holography. The human body has the ability to process high frequency, sensory informing, electrical, chemical, and hormonal changes are created by activating the latent codes of the DNA. Consciously applying sensory, visual, and audio impulses increases the receptivity of the neurological structures of the brain and heart that then strengthen the nerve fibers. So they can spatially augment bandwidth of bioelectromagnetic sound and light within the brain and body. This constant builds the resilience of the immune system within the body and auric field. Without these alterations, the human body cannot translate frequency that is outside its translational range. To increase the perception range, the body must be accelerated in its ability to hold and process biomagnetic, electrical, light, and sound data, which gives additional DNA codes and matrices that orchestrate with the soul matrix and embeds in the matrix of the Earth and the universe. It is a natural dynamic of human evolution. Within every societal cultural envelope, our human has the capacity to enhance perceptual parameters for the natural evolution of extrasensory perception. It is a revolution. Synesthesia, superphonics, the gift of hearing the inner music of Earth and feeling her rhythm, her waves of time. Synesthesia is the experience of seeing the color of sound. It is a beautiful experiential state of interdimensional play. It is when we acknowledge and accept the play between all the worlds of our existence and the music within all realities of nature, the cosmological plateaus. It is to see and hear the color and music of the parallel layers of the divine, the rhythms of the sounds, the associated colors of the songs that are playing beneath our feet. A caldera, an earth vortex, Australia, songlines. After spending many suns and moon time in Peru, the Pacific Islands, and Canada, I returned to Australia. And on one of these return journeys to Australia, I was residing in a small village on the escarpment of the Glasshouse Mountains in southern Queensland. When I first arrived, I was aware of being within a mini vortex of inner earth. My quantum mentors presented the interior view of the escarpments beneath this geolocation, the spatial feeling of the sensorial energy flowing in a large circle. The inner earth energy was circulating in a gentle, clockwise direction. My energy body sank into this field, and the circumference of this field and the field nestled within me. It was a surprise. I tuned into it and allowed myself to merge during the night. On the third night and in the early hours of the morning, I was looking and hearing the inner earth music of this vortex. A large white band moved in a wave. The music was within these waves as a soft pink color cloud that flowed with the interior river beneath. There was a resonant field that was similar to a tuba, many deep tubas, and there was another breath within this music, a breath that was so incredibly beautiful in its dispersion. I lay there deliberately expanding my energy field, my auric field, so I could hold the time waves and extend the experience of seeing the colors of this sound, feeling this sound and its sonic expressions flowing within this vortex. A cave within Earth's time that held these superphonic tones within the breath of Earth. These songlines were traveling west to east. When inner Earth sings, Earth, you dance in the rainbows of my mind. You arrive when I reach for you. You are a witness to my journey. You provide the encountering. Quantum healing sounds. Quantum healers also arrive to provide the color of sound, the spiraling light fields of sound, and the tuning forks of sound. In this specific moment, a healing friend provided a connected space for quantum healers from the non-material planes of specific constellations. The healer and I both opened to the inner earth vortex and created a gateway, a place of receptivity. I was then aware of the quantum healers and witnessing 8 spiraling orange tubes of light over and around my body on the healing table. The sound was similar to the bass tones of a flute. The sound emanated within the orange light-lit field, and these harmonics of intense sound and light penetrated at a molecular depths within my body. The healing field was activated. Holographic informing. Another experience of sound and light in the geomancy of the caldera, the vortex of the Glasshouse Mountains, southern Queensland, Australia. The holographic informing of the gold discs identifying the ley lines and the circumference of the clockwise direction of this vortex. In the early hours of this specific morning, my third eyesight or pineal eye, or the cosmic eye within the body, was observing a large golden sphere on the perimeter of the Glasshouse Mountains. It moved slowly around the whole circumference of the caldera, the vortex. At each terminal point or acupoint, the large sphere of golden glowing light stopped and then emitted a large laser beam of golden rays to the center of the vortex, Biwa mountain. Biwa was the most prominent mountain of the caldera and resembled a pregnant woman, a mountain that had indigenous metaphors and ancient stories. Vortexes are where multiple ley lines meet at a central point in a geophysical landscape. The greater the number of ley lines, the more harmonic and relaxing is the inner earth energy for the human body. This also translates to the reversal of the energy field of Earth. It is understood that this centripetal force takes the atmospheric breath into the central column between the North Pole and the South Pole. They are the acupoints and the breathing centers for Earth's inner sanctuary. Indigenous cultures know this. Telepathically, the quantum mentors informed me that this vortex was similar to Sedona in the USA. The energy of this mountain holds an orange
I'm so
color.
sorry to interrupt. We are just coming at time. So I just wanted to,
Okay.
we have a 1 minute time left at this point.
Okay, just on the end, towards the end. Okay, so telepathically, the quantum mentors inform me that this vortex was similar to Sedona in the USA. The energy of the mountain holds an orange color, and the creative energy of the people surrounding this vortex dance with the juices of the writer, the musician, the playwright, the healers, the singers. When you enter a vortex, your body consciously or unconsciously is relaxing. The tension is unwinding, and another state of Earth's rhythm is being experienced. The cramp, the inner clutter of the mind is unwound in the centripetal flow by the inner forces of Earth. The body exhales, and there is this aha as the greater breath re-enters the body. Another state of serenity is experienced of the heart resonance of Earth, brings her connection to the body's neurological heart coherent intelligence. There is one more story, but we can pass that one by, and I'll just come to the end. And this is Ikra. It's a vortex that I grew up with. It's the largest vortex in Australia, has the largest number of ley lines entering it. It's very special. So I wish to thank everyone for this time, for presenting this story, these stories, these experiences. And I will just have one last question. Who hears the music of Earth rhythms? Who's ready for a turn to the original Earth rhythms within a human experience? The gift of a journey to Earth. So immense gratitude to everyone.
Well, thank you so much for reminding all of us how we're all connected and introducing us to this very beautiful concept of sacred ecology. I'm sorry that we ran out of time and that we don't have time for questions. So
My apologies.
not at all. Our next speaker is actually in California, and it's running very late for them. So that's why we're just having to move on. But thank you very much for enlightening all of us this morning.
My pleasure. Oh, so much gratitude to everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Anna. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Dr. Melikash Demir. He is Assistant Professor of Psychology at California State University in Sacramento. And he is going to be talking to us this morning about how and why close relationships relate to happiness. Dr. Demir, please take over.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Greetings to everyone from Sacramento, California. Like it was mentioned, it's pretty late over here, but I'm very happy and pleased to be here. And thank you so much for being here and listening to this talk. Am I able to share my screen to have my slides? Excellent.
Yes,
Very
please
good.
go
Thank
ahead.
you very much. All right. So, okay, the title of my talk is, before I continue, I won't have a chance to check the chat box during the presentation. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have. That way it will be more interactive. So the title of my presentation is Why and How Do Friendships Make People Happy? I've been doing research on the topic for the past 15 years. I have made some theoretical and empirical contributions, and today I'd like to focus on the underlying reasons as to why friendships make people happy. And when we talk about friendship and happiness, friendships are cherished bonds, and then the interactions that we have with them and the activities we complete together, they overlap with the rhythm in our everyday lives and in activities. That's for sure. And then decades of research has consistently supported Aristotle's argument, thousands of years ago, that the friendships definitely make a difference in individual happiness. This idea has been supported by recent, modern social scientists. And the friendships that you have, your overall experiences in that particular friendship predicts happiness even when taking major predictors of happiness, such as personality, into account. And then more importantly, this important link between friendship and happiness has been observed across all walks of life and then in different cultures as well. However, the million-dollar question in this line of research concerns the following: why and how friendships make people happy? And then before I address this question, I'd like to talk about two important critical issues. The first one is, how do we define a friendship? The way I define a friendship is presented to you here. It's a dyadic, non-sexual, and non-familial bond between two individuals who are engaging in a variety of different activities and as a result satisfy different provisions such as companionship, support, intimacy, and so on and so forth. And when we talk about friendship, we can talk about two major dimensions being highlighted. The first one is the quantity, how many friends that you have, and then we might have 10 friends, but we are likely to rank order them according to research, such as having a best friend, first closest friend, and so on and so forth. And then the other major component of friendship concerns what researchers call the quality of the bond. That includes the satisfaction of multiple provisions such as intimacy, support, self-validation, felt security, and so on. And in terms of friendship, another the key issue to consider is the type of friendship. Is it a same-gender friendship or a cross-gender friendship? People obviously, certainly maintain both in their lifetimes. However, my research has shown consistently across thousands of participants that majority of people's best friends are same-gender. So that's why in the research that I'm going to share with you in the next couple of slides, our focus has been on same-gender friendships, best friendships. If we move forward, what we are going to see right now is going to address one fundamental question: friendship and happiness, which one comes first? Obviously, as a presenter, I believe that friendship comes first. and then that makes people happy. But it's possible that the other way might work too. That is, happy people might have better friendships, or it could be that there is an interesting process by directional influence such that friendships make you happy, and then that contributes to even better friendships. In an attempt to address this important question, I'm going to share with you two pieces of evidence. The first one is that over the years, I asked more than 10,000 participants in my research, and then the most recent data that we have is coming from 3,000 participants, replicating what we found in before. Majority of people, emerging adults in the United States, they believe that friendship comes first and makes people happy. This is more than 80% of the participants, and only a small percent, maybe around 15% or so, believe that happiness comes first. So this is what people believe in general. And also recent longitudinal research convincingly demonstrated that actually it is changes in friendship experiences make a difference in people's happiness rather than the other way around. And another key component to remember is that there have been tons of happiness books published in the last 2 decades, and some of which are focusing on strategies to become happier. And then guess what? One of the main strategies is nurturing relationships and investing in your friendships, which means that if you do this, invest in your friendships, you're likely to become a happy person. So I just wanted to bring this up in this presentation to give you an idea of how to conceptualize or think about the relationship between friendship and happiness. As we move forward, like I said, it has been demonstrated, consistently reported across different cultures and different age groups that friendship quality is positively related to happiness. But the critical question, and that's what my research has focused on for quite some time, is the mediator of this association. Why and how friendships contribute to your happiness? What happens in this box over here? Other relationship-specific experiences. And my research has been identified and supported by existing theories. And the first one that I'm going to share with you that links friendship to happiness is the so-called need satisfaction. According to self-determination theory, basic needs theory, there are 3 major psychological needs. And when these needs are satisfied, either in general or in your friendship, you are likely to experience higher levels of well-being, relational well-being, and individual well-being. The first one is focusing on the idea of autonomy, the extent to which your friend makes you feel like an autonomous person, whether your friend respects your autonomy. How about your friend making you feel competent and then perhaps complimenting you? So together, these 3 needs make up this construct referred to as need satisfaction. And again, according to theory, these needs are universal, and when satisfied either in general or in your friendship, they have the potential to make a difference in your relational well-being and emotional well-being, aka happiness in this context. And in one of the first studies that we did, in my lab, we were trying to see if this model would be supported by data, and then we found support for this. More importantly, we found that this model was generalizable to best and 2 closest friendships of the individuals as well. So that is part of the reason why friendship quality is contributing to your happiness, is because it's creating a context where you are able to satisfy your basic psychological needs in the relationship. And of course, and the initial studies that we did that was conducted in the United States. Of course, conducting one study is not enough. You need to test the generalizability of your findings to different cultural groups. That's what we did in the following years. We did another study. For instance, we compared the 2 groups, one individualistic, one collectivistic, specifically France and Lebanon, 2 different cultures. And we found that the model we supported in the United States was supported in these 2 different nations as well. So need satisfaction is one variable that explains why your friends are making you happy. As we move forward, another key variable that we're looking at in my research concerns perceived mattering. That is focusing on the following idea. It is the tendency to evaluate yourself as significant in the eyes of your best friend. You might have a best friend, that's great, but does your best friend really care about you? Does your best friend make you feel like you do matter to him her or them. Then it's the perceived relevance that you see and experience in your relationship. And then there are tons of things that your friends can do, perhaps to make you feel like you matter to them, such as, finding time during their busy schedules just to meet with you, listen to you, throwing a birthday party for you, right? So these activities collectively contribute to the sense of perceived mattering in general. And in my research, we try to address this model that you see over here, that is, would perceived mattering, that's a specific feeling that you realize, achieve in the relationship, explain why your friendship quality is associated with happiness. We get the data from emerging adults, and we found that yes, the model actually is supported. And more importantly, one more time, we found that this model is applicable and generalizable to the immediate social network of people in our studies. And of course, the initial studies were done in the United States. Of course, this is not enough. We need to go above and beyond this. That's why we did another cross-cultural study comparing, again, United States, but this time to Turkey. Turkey is a collectivistic nation, and we found support for this particular model. Moving forward, the next concept that we studied in my research extensively is the concept of capitalization. This is focusing on the following idea. What do you do when things go right in your life? Well, you are going to share that good news, perhaps with a significant other, in this context with your friend. This act of sharing is referred to as capitalization in the literature. However, it turns out that it is not only this simple act of sharing the good news with your friends or significant others that matters, but what matters most is your perceived responses to your capitalization attempts. How do your best friend respond to you, react to you when you share something really positive with them? And the types of responses identified in the literature I presented to you over here. For instance, if I were to tell my best friend that, hey, dude, check this out. I'm going to be presenting at this rhythm conference, in India, next week or in 2 weeks. And a good friend responding actively and constructively would say that, dude, that's excellent. I'm so happy for you. Let's celebrate this. That is great. Congratulations. A passive constructive response coming from a best friend would be, that's cool. That's all right. On the other hand, an active destructive response would be finding potential problems, or perhaps even, undermining the importance of the event for me. He could say that, well, everybody is going to present at that conference, so you're going to present, no big deal. And finally, the other possible response that you can get from your significant other is the so-called passive destructive response. That is, your friend is going to simply ignore you and start talking about this, upcoming, movie that he wants to see at the theater. So overall, it is not only the simple act of sharing good news with your significant others, but how do they respond to you and how you perceive these responses? And that was our interest as this, really critical relationship experience. We share everything with our friends. It's a rule of friendship, sharing good things with our friends, and their responses are truly important. However, in testing our model, we came up with the following model. We believe that your responses coming from your friend is going to be influential in promoting various friendship experiences, one of which is being friendship quality, which in turn is going to contribute to happiness. Of course, we tested the alternative model as well in our analysis, but this was the model we came up with because our reasoning was that you need to have some type of responsiveness from your friend in the first place so that you can focus on other provisions in your relationship. So this was the idea, this was the model, and we found support for this model. Additional studies we conducted, we found that this model is only applicable for your best friendship. It is not generalizable to your first closest, second closest, and so on friends. And the initial study was, of course, conducted in the United States, but we did another cross-cultural study, this time comparing Turkey to United States, and the model was supported again. That is part of the reason why friendship quality is mediating the associationist capitalization attempts contribute to your friendship, perceptions of your friendship quality, which in turn contributes to your happiness. We also did another cross-cultural study, gathered data from two different cultures, one individualistic Slovakia, one collectivistic Algeria, completely unique different cultures, and we found support for this particular model. That is, PRCA contributed to perceptions of friendship quality, which in turn contributed to your individual happiness. The last concept that I'm going to highlight briefly is called friendship maintenance, relationship maintenance. It is focusing on the degree to which one engages in routine and strategic behaviors to keep a friendship alive in a satisfactory condition. And then there are lots of things that you can do to maintain a particular friendship. You can make plans, you can compliment your friend, you can show affection, and so on and so forth. So collectively, all these behaviors that you do pertains to this construct, relationship, friendship maintenance. And we were curious to see in our research if positive responses to capitalization attempts would perhaps motivate people to engage in friendship maintenance, which in turn is going to contribute to their overall happiness. And we found support for this particular model. Unfortunately, we don't have cross-cultural data for this particular model yet, but yet this is another variable that is added to this list of mediators explaining why and how friendships are related to individual happiness. And one additional thing that I want to share with you concerns the idea of who benefits more from friendships. The studies that we conducted here, they focused on men and then women. And according to the gender benefits argument, it was suggested that because women compared to men, they experience friendships rather strongly, friendship should make a bigger contribution to their happiness compared to men. However, in my line of research, this so-called gender benefits argument, at least in the context of friendship, was not supported. Yes, it was true. In every study that I covered or shared with you here, talking about these different models, and no matter what the friendship experience that you focus on, perceived mattering, need satisfaction, scores are higher for women compared to men. However, regardless of this, the models tested and the strength of the association between friendship and happiness is similar between the two groups. So the internal constitution of the friendship is likely to be different, consistent with the literature, but the ultimate beneficial impact of friendship on happiness is the same across the groups. So this is one major finding that we obtained in my research. And as we move forward, we identified, multiple, variables as potential mediators of the relationship between friendship and then happiness. The most recent one we are working on and hoping to gather more data is friendship maintenance, as I have just shared. I think the current state is promising the literature, because we are finding multiple reasons as to why your friends are contributing to your individual happiness. And then, of course, future is right with, a bunch of different opportunities. New constructs can be added to this list. And alternatively, and hopefully with longitudinal data, more confidence can be established in the generalizability of these models. This is what I believe I had to say. I'd like to acknowledge, the contribution and the collaboration of my, students and then, friends. Those are their names I presented on the slide, and I thank them for giving me a chance to work with them, and we make some contributions to the literature on friendship and happiness. With this being said, thank you very much for listening to this presentation, and I will be happy if we have time to answer some questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Demir, for your presentation. And we indeed do have time for questions. I think our co-hosts are looking through the chat box to get the questions out for you. But in the interim, I was wondering if you could comment a bit on how are friendships affected through the life course? Are they the same in people who are, in college, like our students? Are they the same in people who are a bit older, or different in people who are later in life?
Oh, what a great question! What a wonderful question, and I will be happy to elaborate on this. The first one is that it is always possible to establish and maintain new friendships at any age across a lifespan. That's for sure. However, what research convincingly demonstrates is that we carry with us across the lifespan a close cohort of people. It is not only our family members, but also friends, according to my definition in the literature. With this being said, the importance of friendships are becoming really great during late adolescence and during college years among college students. However, there are developmental tasks that people need to complete, one of which is exploring intimacy versus social isolation, applied to modern world in a different sense that concerns developing and creating romantic relationships. When this happens, your friends are still important, but their emphasis is going down to varying degrees. And after people, have kids, commit to their careers during midlife, of course, they still interact with those friends they have and they have made back in the day, right? But their impact is not pronounced. But what is really critical and interesting is that only in late life, the importance of friends are becoming really clear in terms of their contribution to our well-being. Perhaps we achieved everything in life, right? And then we have a lovely partner, we have kids, and then we are retired. And now we are perhaps thinking that it's time to, reignite those great moments with our friends. So that's the trajectory as I remember from the literature. I hope this addressed your question.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It certainly does. So we can clearly say that friends are important across the lifespan, and we need to invest time in maintaining our friendships.
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely,
an excellent message for all of us. I think there is a question. I'm just going to read it out for us. This is from one of our listeners. He says, "Thank you for a great presentation, sir. My question is whether these findings corroborate for group dynamics of friendships as well. Does the group dynamic help or hinder the psychological state more compared to personal dynamic?"
Oh, I see. I mean, I'm just going to make an assumption here. If my assumption is not correct, if possible, please unmute yourself and then, help me understand this in a better way. By group dynamics, are you talking about the larger network of people that they are interacting with? Is that what you mean?
Yes, sir. I mean, a group of friends you have throughout your college life or school life, etc.
I see. Okay, yes. And then my understanding is, even though that might be the case, the group dynamics might be important, the personal dynamics, as you put it, is going to be critical because regardless of our age, there is research showing that we might be hanging out with, tens of different people in our network, but we are going to rank order them either consciously or unconsciously. Some of them are going to be closer to us than others. And then that's why I think it is going to be, those personal dynamics that is going to be making a huge difference. But regardless, as I have highlighted, the models we have seen, it works for differently ranked individuals as well. With this being said, that's a great question. As for the group dynamics, if the findings would be generalizable to that aspect of the general social network, I guess future research has the potential to answer that question. But that was a great question. Thank you, sir.
I think, thank you very much. I think we'll have to stop here so that we stay on time. We appreciate you staying up late with us
my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening and for the questions. It was a pleasure. And then have a great rest of the conference. I need to go to bed soon as I have to go to work tomorrow morning. So take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And good night to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I will just introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Ranjan Kumar. He's one of our alumni. So we're very excited to welcome him back. He's the founder and CEO of Entropic Technologies. And we will be, and the focus of his talk is going to be the science of emotions, and AI. So, Ranjan, if you could just join us.
Sure.
Great.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here. Hi everyone, I'm Ranjan, founder and CEO at Entropic Tech. As a company, we work in the space of emotion AI, and a topic very close to me. And I think hearing to the audience here and hearing from the speakers prior to me, I just got a sense that as we talk about rhythm, my focus of conversation is going to be about what is the underlying science of emotions like, right? And then what makes us feel the way we feel about certain things, and what is its role in its current era, right? And that's what I'm primarily going to be talking about, and a little bit of technology, as in how the science of emotion has evolved from from where it was to where it is going. Um, so just as a background, from a neuroscience perspective, we all understand that there are two parts of the brain, the left and the right. One we call as system one, another we call as system two. System two is where it is very rational, which is based on reasoning, which is based on um, the calculative way of thinking and logics, and it sort of has a very sequential arrangement. However, the left side of it, which is the system one, is very progressive, which is very parallel. It is very subconscious in nature. It's very gut based, and it's a little parallelly wired, so to say, in literal terms. And hence, whenever you have, we all, as part of our education and learning and all the things that we do, we're always a little more focused on the system two based, awareness about ourselves, which is how rationally we deduce something and how logically we come to certain conclusion. But the work we do is primarily in the space of system one, which is where how do you understand the subconscious behavior or subconscious mood or emotion or expressions of humans, and how we can make that insights being utilized for various things, right? From understanding, let's say, human behavior to understanding customers, understanding employees, understanding uh, wellness state of individual, and can we do something about it? So that's the space that we work in. So I think the four technologies, or the five technologies which can ever possibly exist to understand human emotions at scale are following. One is we have sense organs, so we have brain, face, eye, touch, and voice. And these are the five means in which we express whatever we express. And we went about actually understanding each of these five touch points of human expression to know, can we learn emotion and behavior as an outcome of these touch points. So one of the core science that we worked in is the science of emotion with respect to EEG, which is electroencephalogram, and essentially what you're trying to read is it's a band that one can wear, and what you're trying to read is the neural pulse from the frontal lobe of the brain. And then there are different kind of EEG devices. There's multiple channels, and depending upon what you are trying to deduce, you can have inputs from limbic system as well as the frontal lobe. But kind of what we've learned is that whatever happens in the limbic system has some amount of corollary effects on frontal lobe, and that's what you can read. So basically, it's a simple system to understand your emotion in real time, understand how your neurons are firing, and understand the complex science of emotion, so to say. And the way we read is that as you think about something, as you experience anything, essentially you have uh, 0 to 50 hertz kind of signal coming, and that's all banded into alpha wave, beta wave, gamma, all sort of wave patterns, what we call it. And we learn what does each of these frequency ranges mean, and what kind of scenario you sort of your neurons fire in a certain way, and what kind of emotion it leads to what kind of thing. And that's a modeling of data and AI that we brought in to further tell you that at any point in time, are you happy, sad, excited, relaxed, bored? Are you attentive? What is your engagement level? What is your activation levels? What is your wellness level? Are you very anxious? Those kind of data points is what we could learn. And then we further trained this whole model to learn the patterns of brainwave to, get to accuracy of about 98% to know your valence states, know your activation state. And any emotion is essentially a function of your valence and emotion, wherein valence is a measure of positive and negative directional sense of emotion, and activation is more about the um, intensity of emotion. And any emotion that we experience lies in the circumflex wheel. So that's how brain is one that we use to understand emotion. And given the topic was science of emotion, I'm just trying to correlate to how brain neural response can be used to understand emotion. And the second one that we sort of worked in, and where we have seen a lot of interest and scale, is understanding emotion from face. And while brain is a lot more pure in terms of its entry data point and the input, because unlike any other thing, you can't control your brain. It's kind of hard to simulate your brain all the time. So your true behavior or true emotion gets most maturely reflected in your neural response. And the second is face, where essentially you have expressions coming out as you experience something. And many times you have neutral experience. You don't have a loud face or loud sort of expression. And hence the challenge with understanding emotion from face is, and the good part of that is that using cameras, you can analyze the face at scale and you can understand emotions. And that's the AI space that we worked in, with largest repository of human emotion data globally available that we hold a patent on. But what we sort of understood is that face expression has got two specific problems. One is can you deal with the cultural nuances, which means that people in different countries have different face expression associated to different things, and how do you actually go about standardizing that all? Second, how do you deal with a poker face, right? I can have absolutely no expression at all, and can we read anything out of it? And then sort of a lot of work has been done into that to cross-train brainwave data with facial coding and stuff, that sort, to get a very accurate way of understanding human expression from face. And face tells a lot more than what it looks like, because there's micro expressions, small changes that's happening in your face, which is not even ever noticed when me and you and all of us talk in person. But it's a very subconscious way in which brain picks up those small nuances of gestures that happens. The third is voice, and voice is something where the tonality with what you said and how you said conveys a lot about your emotions and your state of emotion, and that's something which is of very powerful meaning. The only restriction being that user can control what to express and what not to. And hence voice is another means through which emotion can be understood or tracked. And the last and least explored way is touch, right? So the way and given we live in the age of smartphones, the touch, the way we swipe our smartphones is something that can also give you a strong sense of what the emotion levels are. And the sensors are very sophisticated. So the swiping patterns and the length of your swipes and the pressure that you apply, all that can be used to understand emotions as well. So, and the last being eye, as in your eye expression and the way your gaze does move. So we track the pupil movement, and eye tracking can be a very strong mechanism to understand emotion as well. So from a science of emotion, essentially, or technology of emotion, these are the possible ways in which emotion can be measured and understood clinically. And I think a more important topic hence is, why do we need to do this, and where it is headed, right? And kind of, I feel that we are in an age of digital era where we are dealing with a huge problem of attention span. And just to bring some stats here, the data suggests, this is by NBH, the data suggests that 2003, an average attention span of human being was about 13 seconds at a stretch. And it has gone down in last 17 years from 13 seconds to about 7 seconds now. So on average, we are attentive for 7 seconds, and that's less than a goldfish. And that's a huge problem with technology and advancement of digital world, that we are on the cusp of a time where we are not mindful about things, and technology, and while it has given us immense power and scale, it has taken away the attention and mindfulness of ours. So how do you grow, and how do you see forward a world where technology lives in coexistence with our mindfulness, and that's a bridge where I believe that technology like emotion AI has a role to play, which is not just about we can't ignore that we are not going to live in a digital world. We are going to live in a digital world, but I think what it brings down to is, can we find means of bridging this mindfulness with the digital world? And unless we are having a feedback loop of what's happening and some mechanism to actually be very conscious about our interaction with the digital world, we're going to struggle with this experiential void which exists owing to all the technological advancements that we have done. Means while Zoom calls are efficient, nothing beats a coffee over in-person coffee, right? So we have a natural craving for an emotional interactive experience, and hence it is super important that we be very cognizant of it, and we be having technologies like emotion AI. I'll tell you what it means, how it can be powerful. So one of the things that we do in the wellness space is create this feedback loop of you being constantly aware of your emotional state. And we tried this experiment in our research work, and very powerful one. It has huge appetite and capability to cut down anxiety if you're just aware of your emotional states. A lot of things we will find that the living style and the way of thinking has become more like we're living not very mindfully, and then you're acting without being consciously aware of it, right? So it's just the heck of it, you're doing a lot of things. And we found this in experiment that we did in ours, that as people are more and more aware of emotional states, their whole lifestyle and choices to change substantially, and that essentially has a lot of contribution in bringing a good atmosphere and a happy living. So we feel we have products like wherein you can use this emotion AI technologies essentially to wellness, to meditation, to how you learn to how you can use that to curb your anxiety, to know your emotional wellness, to know your to know what might be more problematic to your daily actions, and hence kind of sort of improve upon that. But I think in addition to that, on a day-to-day basis, what it brings in is a sense of awareness of a conscious living, and I think that's a massive need of times that we are living in, and going forward as we live more digitally, and conversations are more on Zoom than in person. I believe those are the things that are going to be of immense value. So that's broadly from a perspective of how technology has evolved around this particular space and where it is headed. There are other technologies like galvanic skin response, there's technologies like FMR and all that stuff. But what we have seen is that these are the fundamental 5 technologies which has a potential to scale at the fastest level globally. Today we sit on about, at my company, we have about 60 million unique emotion sessions. This data mapping of emotion data that we have got over a period of last 6 years of our work. And if you look at the trends across all of it, what we have found is the state of emotion and the gradient that you experience across any session, and the swings are very high, which is a very strong representation of the fact that continually people are living more mindlessly and less mindfully, and all the experiences hence are getting to be less meaningful and less connected. And we feel that fundamentally there is a human craving that the experience has to be rich, and that void needs to be filled in some ways. And that's where some of this technology has a role to play. I'm not sure if the topic that was there sort of I probably spread out a little bit here and there, but happy to take any questions which is there. That's all broadly I had to cover about the science of technology.
Well, Ranjan, thank you so much for telling us about your work in in the interface of emotions and AI. As we wait for the questions in the chat box, just a couple of things. I was just wondering, as you had alluded to, if you could expand a bit on this. Do you think that the facial response to emotions is universal? Are there situations where you find that even an emotion like happiness is expressed differently on the face, so to speak?
Thanks a lot. I think this is an interesting question. Yes, it is. The emotions are expressed very differently in different cultures and civilizations, and not just by linguistic meaning, but by face expression also. We do respond very differently. Classic example, which all of us have a lot of humor about, is the way we say no and the way we say yes. Both are like this, right? So in different cultures, it might mean different things. But yeah, I think those variants is something that we have been able to model, and what we've learned is there are a few traits which is universal. There are a few traits which is very cultural. Like if you break the face into 58 expressions and micro expressions from AI, there's certain about 30 of them which is universal, and about 20 of them which varies by culture and religion. So you have to be cognizantly taking into account of both aspects to actually be able to truly comment on what the emotional states might be.
Okay. And in your experience, have you ever had a chance to work with cultures that are actually not connected digitally? Cultures, that might not be exposed to our universal kind of ideas of emotions. And if so, I wonder what we would learn from them.
Sure, I think yes, we did. And we did have some amount of work done into that space with your permission, and fascinating results, like all of us expect. I think they are more evolved emotionally than us. For simple words, I think better attention span for sure, stronger expressions for sure. In terms of meaning, it has got their own classics. And I think it is, like as I said, that out of 58 expressions, about 30 are universal. They follow the same as well. And it is some sort of a universal wiring, I don't know, but they follow the same for those 30. For those 28, they're absolutely different in the way they express. Overall, their attention span is about 17 seconds. An average attention span on anything, like you give them anything to observe. Their average attention span they're less distracted, they are more intense in their emotional expression. Just a few things that we learned our way.
Okay, so we have a question here. How do we measure micro expressions on the face, and how do we actually define certain expressions to be accurately positive or negative?
Yeah, so there are two kinds of micro expression that we essentially go about measuring or sort of go about learning from. One is set of micro expressions which can be learned from universally across faces, as I said, and the other kind of micro expression is a bucket which is very unique to specific cultures and stuff. Now, the way to learn about that is, one, you take a repository of billions of faces and how they express and all the public information which is out there to build neural network models to understand expression and get outcomes based on that. Second is there's a Paul Ekman model of first principle reasoning or facial expressions and emotion, which categorizes face expression of certain kind into and micro expressions into certain kind of blocks of emotions. So we do use that. Now, how can we be certain of whether it's accurate or not? So what we do is, what we have done is now basically face expression, there's no ground truth of what is true. And hence that's the problem of saying whether it is accurately positive or negative. So what we use is EEG, which is, or MRI, which is a lot more purer way of understanding human emotion. We take that as a benchmark. So let's say if I'm having that EEG capped weird and then I'm measuring simultaneously my face expression, if my brain says happy or excited or relaxed, does my face says the same? Is what we look at to cross-train and sort of know accurately whether we are rightly measuring the expressions and micro expression as the brain is saying. So that's how we sort of measure micro expressions on face and cross-train.
Okay, thank you. So the next question we have here is, are the facial micro expressions same even on babies who have not interacted with other people yet?
I'm sorry, we have not done any work on kids. They're not allowed to, neither we intend to. I think we'll leave them for to grow up to know more from them, but we don't have much information or work done on anything less than 14 years of age.
Okay, good to know. Sambhuji has a question here. Often we act from our own references, experiences, and perceptions. Can AI, through app, help eliminate these and make someone mindful?
Thanks, Sandhu sir, for this question. Yes, it does. It does. I think it would be better if we didn't need these apps in AI. But having said so, we live in an era where we are constantly gathered and sort of crowded by these things. So yes, you can constantly learn your state of emotion and you can be informed about it. That allows you to take a little conscious position and be mindful about whatever you're doing. So yes, AI can do that, and AI can do that real time.
Well, thank you. We actually have a couple of minutes, and I know that our students would be very excited to hear about your journey, given that you have been in their shoes not too long ago. So I was wondering if you could just take a couple of minutes and tell them about your very special story from IIT Kharagpur and then beyond.
Thanks, Ratnam. Yeah, I think I was in IIT Kharagpur from 2004 to 8, not very long back. It's about 13 years back I was there, and since then every year almost I've been going there. A very strong connection I have with that place because probably all that confidence you gather in your early days of your life, it comes out of that place, right? And interacting with amazing set of brilliant kids and sort of knowing that the imagination and the world of possibility that you're chasing is there out, right? So that was it. I think for me, it was, I worked for 3 years of my career with organizations like ITC, ONGC, pretty much places where you learn the corporate way of doing things. And 2012 was a time when I actually, as a chemical engineer, so nothing related to what I do these days, but I had a minor in soft computing, and I loved my classes of fuzzy logic and genetic algorithm and neural net. And I remember Dr. Bari, who used to take our classes from civil engineering department, and that's one subject that I never missed a lecture, and that's one subject for which I've never missed assignment. And just for the fascination and love of that subject, I was very curious how I can learn more out of it. But as it happened, I went into a job, and 2012, I was looking at various things, and I felt that humans has this amazing capability that You can think about your present from a future point of view. And I was anticipating how things are going to be next 10 years of our lives. And I felt for sure that I want to do something, I want to try something early on. And I took a bet to start my first company, where I went about 2 years and failed miserably to learn a lot of things. And I felt that probably I'll live with restlessness. I'll not be able to live with regrets. And that's how first 2 year of my first company was. And then we folded that company and I joined another company to head their business very early on. And 2014 to 16, in 2 years, we scaled that business to a sizable $200 million company and made an exit. And then subsequently, that was a great journey for me, a successful one as an entrepreneur. And Entropic happened to be the third company. After exit of that company, I was looking at what next. And I felt this problem, I connected with it so deeply that with all the technology advancements, we are bound to become stupid over a period of time. So what we are going to do about it? because if I can't be aware of what I'm doing and all the tech becomes noise around, how do you bridge this? Because tech is definitely going to stay, and hence how do you bridge that? And that's where essentially my part of Emotional AI was, and the rest about 3 years, 17 patents, and building massive amount of technology, which is rated as world's most accurate Emotional AI capability, was amazing. And then ramping up further now to about 7 countries that we operate in. That's just been journey for me. Just a final takeaway, I think the possibility of what ifs has to be greater than the fear of what if not, and that has always worked into my favor, because there are dark days when you are sort of taking this stride of believing into this magneto stuff that you only believe as science fiction and nobody else does. But you can only sustain if your hope is stronger than fear. And what if things will succeed has to be more stronger than what if things does not work out that way. And I've learned that probably that's the only takeaway that you sleep with, and the next morning you start working again. And that keeps me excited.
Well, thank you so much for those very wise words. And I think all of us appreciate this. And I think your fellow students here really benefit from hearing you say this. So thank you once again. And we will move on to our final speaker for the morning.
So thank you, ma'am.
Sure. So our final speaker is Professor Hima Bindu Maringanti. She's professor in the Department of Computer Science in North Orissa University. And she's going to speak to us this morning about pondering into rhythm and its manifestation in human well-being. Professor Hima?
Yeah. Thank you. Am I able to, are you able to see this, the screen I shared?
Not yet. Is it possible for you to turn on your camera?
Yeah, my camera is on. Yeah.
We can definitely hear you, but we're just not able to see you yet.
Is this showing up?
No, I'm afraid not.
Excuse me, if you are having bandwidth issues now, then you can just switch on your audio and we can try that once. I mean, switching off your video can help the audio, I think. So we can try that once.
Actually, we can ourselves share her PPT if like she can share it with us, and then she can
Yes,
speak
I
in
have
audio. No
actually
problem.
I have her PPT.
Perfect, perfect.
I have her PPT. I will share it and then she can go on with her talk.
Yes. Hima ma'am, you can switch off your video and try just switching on your audio once.
I think she has again went to the web.
There are connectivity issues, I think, at that end.
I think she's trying to rejoin.
Yes, we're waiting, ma'am. Since we are like having some time, so if some questions, I think Anna is still with us. So there was one question. Okay, Hima ma'am is here, I think. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
What is I will just
Please join me and unmute at the same time.
my God. Okay, I put off my video for now. Am I
Yes.
heard now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you. And you can you see the
So-
slides?
Yes.
Yes. I can see the slides also.
So could we make the slides full screen?
Full screen.
Yes, ma'am. The slide is full screen only.
No, Shankar, please share it again and
Okay.
more pointers.
Now?
Yes, now it's fine.
Oh, thank you.
Professor Hima, go ahead.
A very good morning. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity given today for me. And sorry for the issues, bandwidth issues and so on. So I switched off my video, but I'll still be heard. So what interested me was the rhythm. I would just narrate a small incident from my past where I was watching the performance. Am I heard?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, so we were all watching in Noida, we were watching the performance by Birju Maharaj and his students, disciples. It was a Kathak performance. And in between, Birju Maharaj would opt himself. He said, yes, I would like to show you a small wonder about Guru, his anklets.
You are muted, madam. We can't hear you.
Am I heard now?
We can hear you.
Yes. So, Birju Maharaj, when he performed with the gurus, then because he was just vibrating the gurus, and at one particular stage, all the gurus were beating with the same rhythm. They were ringing at the same rhythm, and it went to a state of resonance, I would call. I would correlate it with the physics terms.
We've lost your voice again, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there's some issue. I'm getting unmuted, muted often. Okay. Am I heard now?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. So, the gurus took us to a state of this, and all of us, I remember the day, even today, for 3 days, we were all like in a mesmerized state. And I wanted a state of complete silence. So,
We're sorry again. We don't have your voice.
yeah, I just stopped for a moment looking at the unmuted symbol. So, what is the problem?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so that's the so
I'm sorry, the voice is not coming through. Would you like to log off and log in again to see if it works?
my God.
Shankar, if possible, can you call some students of Hima ma'am, like Bodhishut or someone else? If she can join from their phone, I mean, if anyone there has a better connection,
Try. I don't know. I can try.
you just give them a call and try. Even joining from a phone will do because you are sharing the screen. So ma'am, can you try to join from another network because your voice is
I'm trying. Yes.
okay. Thank you. So I'd like to thank all the participants for their patience. We are just waiting for ma'am for a few more minutes, if she can join us. But if she cannot, we will have to request her for recording, I think. So I'll request Sangeeta ma'am to say a few words if she could connect. I mean, if ma'am could connect at least through audio with us. And if not, then we'll give her a call and ask for the recording. So Anna is still with us. Happy to see you, Anna. So anybody else, if you have any more questions to Anna, which we could not take at that time, you can post it in the chat box and we can take it now.
Can we call her and find out if she can join? If not, I think we can call off the session, no?
Sir, she is with us. I think the network issue is continuing, I guess. She is there in the participant list.
Shanku, you can just call her and request her to send a video recording of 20 minutes, which we can play in between any of the sessions when we will get some free time. That will be
Okay, I can do it.
good solution, I think.
Okay, I can do it.
Yes, because there are some moments when the network just doesn't come back. So we are sorry for the inconvenience, of course, but as you can see, that is a negative side of holding this kind of conferences in virtual mode. But hope you all understand.
Well, I think that, for the most part, we've done very well today in the Curtain Raiser program. So I would say thank you to all our participants for staying with us and to all our speakers for joining us for this very first day and for enlightening us with so many important themes to think about as we think about rhythm as a metaphor for well-being. And I would very much like to thank my esteemed colleague, Samduji, for being here with us and enlightening us on mindfulness. Once again, he brings so much into our lives by teaching us over and over again about the concepts of mindfulness. And we do look forward to Professor Bindu's talk.
I think she's being able to, but we can't hear her. We can see her now, but we can't hear her.
So, Professor Bindu, not to worry. If you could send us an audio recording of your talk on pondering into rhythm and its manifestations for human well-being, we would love to hear it, and we can hear it in an asynchronous mode during the conference. But we really want to thank you for your patience and for being with us today, despite all of these technical difficulties. So no worries. So I think with that, we will conclude our session today. And I believe we will be reconvening this afternoon. Is that correct? At 4 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am. At 4 p.m. we will again join. All of us will again join for our next session. That is the third session for today. And we have a workshop tonight, yes, from 6 p.m. It's by Kim Chi Moyer, ma'am. We will be having from 6 p.m. the workshop will start.
Okay, great. Thank you. And good afternoon to everybody.
Thank you and good afternoon. Unfortunate, but we have to live with it. And a good idea that she could send us a recorded version which we can play in between whenever there is time. Thank you, Archie, for doing that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta Ji, for being a wonderful moderator this morning.
Great. All right. So goodbye then.
Bye-bye. Take care.